Zuck made his debut in RuneScape 3 on October 25th, 2021, and with this appearance came the Igneous Cal Capes, dropping the adrenaline requirement for Overpower, Deadshot, Omnipower, and Death Skulls from 100% to 60%, along with increasing their damage. These capes are a fantastic and welcomed addition to combat. However, there was one more item introduced with Hard Mode Zuck. If you're able to finish a kill while flawlessly completing the challenge waves, you can combine the 4 capes into the Igneous Cal Zuck. Is there a difference in damage, or does it have any additional effects? Absolutely not. Why would it? Not like you have to fight through 18 waves of mobs, including 3 challenge waves, without failing, 100k DPS checks, a total of 6 Jads, and Huracan, just to unlock a cape that saves you 3 bank slots. But let's unlock it. This is my caffeinated journey to obtaining the glory of combat. Our story begins over 2 years ago when I first obtained my capes.
Yep, we're fine. I signed, we're still fine. I signed, we're fine. And I did this.
I don't have any of the Twitch VODs from back then, but looking at some of the clips, like this,
oh!
My gear was really on the entry side of things. Obsidian Mage Helm, Ganodermic Body and Legs for the waves, thank you Animate Dead, and Animacore of Saren Body and Legs to swap to for the DPS checks, Huracan, and Zuck. I also used your standard magic equipment like Blast Diffusion Boots, Cinderbane Gloves, because poison, and a dual wield setup consisting of a Seismic Wand and a Cyber Orb. This was back when the wand bought for close to 700 mil since Greater Concentrated Blast was, well, Greater Concentrated Blast. Why would you use Sonic Wave in two-hand? A decent setup for what it was, but not something to write home about. I got my 3 capes because Necromancy didn't exist. Yet. And didn't touch the boss until I needed to, which was Necromancy's release. The thought of completing a hard mode kill didn't even cross my mind. I was terrible at bossing. I fully admit that. And trying to complete one of the hardest endurance challenges was something I felt was outside of my abilities. After a hiatus or two and a brief stint in old school, I came back to this dumb game that I have devoted almost 20 years to because of what was being announced later this year. Group Iron Man was coming to RuneScape 3. Not to mention a new trio boss encounter in the form of the Sanctum of Rebirth, which is fun for what it is, and the mechanics introduced are nothing like RS3 has seen, and a new skilling boss on the horizon. I also got the itch to finally start making content for YouTube. Speaking of which, shameless self-promo time. Click the damn like and subscribe button. Or, more likely, take that finger of yours and tap them. It's free and supports my channel in ways that you may not know. Unlike Twitch, that takes half of my subscription money. Anyway, where was I? Right, my return. I started making a series called Combat Dummy, which is heavily inspired by the June Song's DPS for Dummies series. I wanted to make combat simple to understand and intuitive to use, rather than the mess of a tutorial that we currently have in-game, or lack thereof. In doing so, I noticed that my abilities in combat had actually improved, and I was slightly above mediocre. I was upgrading my gear to a full set of tier 95 necromancy equipment, and was finding things easier to accomplish, like a sub 4-minute Nicatra kill, competency in a Solak team, and having the confidence to move away from Revolution++. So why not try to get the cape that I thought was outside of my reach? I played around with a few different gear options, even contemplating going back to my old magic setup. In my head, there were 2 clear options: tier 90 Death Warden, or my new first Necromancer robes. Both used Cinderbane Gloves, Obsidian Boots, and a Tacklezo with an Occultist ring switch. The Obsidian Boots give a 5% damage reduction in the Tazar City, and can be increased by an additional 10% if I donate Tackle to the coffer in the Fight Cauldron, which I did. The Tacklezo gives a 10% damage boost against Tazar creatures, but not Zuck, because that would be too easy. The other dilemma that I was faced with was what aura and familiar I was going to use. Again, 2 clear options for each, and they actually pair well with each other. So let's do that. I could either go with the Aegis aura and a Hellhound, or vampirism and a blood reaver. The Aegis aura reduces all damage taken by 10%, and the Hellhound will intercept 20% of all damage. The Vampirism aura heals you for 5% of the damage you deal, and the Blood Reaver will deal 33% damage of whatever you heal, meaning the healing that you would get from the aura, as well as Soul Split and food, would help out a bit in the DPS heavy spots. The other benefit the Blood Reaver has is its scrolls. The Blood Siphon scroll allows the Blood Reaver to transfer 5% of its maximum life points to the player, which converts to damage since it's considered a source of healing. Deciding to play it safe, I went with the Death Warden, Aegis Aura, and Hellhound, combining that with the Darkness incantation for even more damage mitigation. Oh, right, Darkness. TLDR, it gives you 20% chance to dodge any attack for 12 minutes. The other thing I needed to keep in mind was the fact that I needed to heal either familiar throughout the fight. Prism of Restoration. Easy fix. Since we're bringing runes, why not have runes for Disruption Shield? That could be used to counter one of the hits from the final challenge wave, as well as one of the bombs Zuck fires while fighting the pillar. Throw in the rest of your PVM staples like Overloads, Prayer Potions or Super Restores, Enhanced Excalibur, Vulnerability Bombs, and food for the rest of the inventory. Hold my coffee, I'm going in. I knew all of the mechanics. Pray against whatever is attacking you the most during the waves while using defensives to help mitigate damage, stun the Roly Boy, threshold Robin Hood, and get up close and personal with the Dark Magician. All while avoiding lines of magma that Zuck likes to shoot off. That came out weird. Then there's the 3 challenge waves you actually have to complete. First being the Staff of Five Guys. Threads of Fate works wonders for them. This Juggernaut wannabe that only takes damage when he feels like it, and then the 3 Jadlings that fire 4 hits that you have to somehow not get hit by. Every time I failed one of these challenges, usually the last, I left the encounter instead of finishing the fight. I didn't want to just get a kill. I wanted the kill. A flawless kill. Also because I'm slightly masochistic and enjoy having to reset the encounter every 20 minutes. Harakin and Zuck are exactly the same as normal mode, but with more HP and dealing slightly more damage. Avoid the adrenaline bombs from Harakin and you can soul split the entire thing. Zuck's mechanics haven't changed either. Freedom the Burn, Double Surge the Seer, Dive Away from the Quake, and Resonance the Magic Rock. Pizza time is also the same. Take out the Roly Boy, Robin Hood, and Dark Magician as usual, then use the extra action button before you get nuked. The real difference, and probably the most underwhelming part of the fight, is the last 100k of Zuck's health. You play Ring Around the Rosy with a pillar that spawns in the middle of the arena, and every time it dies, Zuck fires a bomb that you have to deal with. This happens 4 times, so rotate through Resonance, Barricade, Disruption Shield, or even Vitality Pot and Reflect if you're feeling spicy. Once the pillar is down, the job is done, and you get the ability to combine the Igneous Capes, if it was a flawless kill. I spent the better part of 5 hours on stream, one attempt after another. If I failed the challenge, I teleported out and restarted. If I died, well, that's 800k for death and a restart. I was banging my head against a wall and feeling like a failure. My decision to bring the tank armor led me to overthinking the encounter and making avoidable mistakes. I was about to call it quits. But then, chat and I came to a decision. I find using a Reaver as much better than a Hellhound. Yeah, I can see that. I would typically use a Reaver, but since I'm like intentionally taking it slow, I feel like that's also screwing me over. And I should just go all out. Balls to the wall, no shame, right? Go all out. I made a new preset with my first Necromancer equipment and opted for Vampirism and a Blood Reaver. This one decision would change everything. I was actually making progress and eventually made it to Zuck. after finding out that my spellbook swap to standards was keybound instead of lunars. So that's why I kept failing the third challenge. A quick fix and we were back in. That attempt went as well as I hoped it would. I made it through the normal waves, flawlessly completed the challenges, and made it through Zuck. All that was left was the pillar, and I would have my reward. That is, if I would have noticed the charge bar on top of Zuck for the bomb. What?! Bull! Was my res too early? My res was too early. My res was too early. Accepting my defeat, I ended my stream for some much needed quality time with the family. I was so upset with myself for making a mistake that catastrophic and didn't know if I could move on from it. So later that night, after licking my wounds, in the privacy of my office, I decided to make one more attempt. I also recorded it so I could look back at any mistakes I made if I failed. It was finally over. I had achieved my goal of obtaining a cape that I thought didn't have any value. That was until I realized how much value it actually had. The value came from the frustration, ears, and lighter coin pouch. Its true value is the knowledge you gain from the encounter. The things you learn about using your defensives, burst damage, moving while using abilities. That is the true glory of combat. Thank you for taking this journey and watching my story. A link to my combat dummy playlist will be on screen now and in the description. Again, sorry for the shameless plug, but like the video and subscribe if you haven't. See you in the next one, and as always, stay caffeinated.